You've paid for your flight training, you've booked your lessons, you've got the dream. But here's the thing nobody really tells you. The students who pass first time, the ones who impress the instructors, the ones who actually enjoy the entire process, they're not necessarily the smartest. They're just the most prepared. Today I want to break down exactly how to prepare for your aviation exams and your flight lessons. Whether you're just starting your PPL, grinding through your ATPL theory, working towards your CPL, tackling your multi-engine or IR, or even sitting in the APS MCC course and wondering if you'll survive the sim. This applies to all of it. Hi, my name is Sami. I'm a qualified commercial pilot who talks about pilot mindset, pilot training, and air crash investigations. And on this channel today, we are looking at why preparation matters. Let me be real with you. Flight training is expensive. Like genuinely very expensive. Every hour you turn up underprepared to a lesson, you are literally burning money on not learning what you could have learned at home for free. And every exam you resit costs you time and money. And honestly, a little bit of confidence too. Your instructor's job is to teach you to fly. It's not their job to re-explain things you should have read before you arrived. The students who get the most out of every lesson are the ones who show up ready to apply that knowledge, not absorb it from scratch. And on another note, aviation is a professional environment. From day one, you're building habits. The habit of being prepared is one of the most important ones you can start right now, whether that's preparing for ground school. Let's start with the theory side. Whether it's your PPL, your CPL, your ATPL, ground school prep comes down to a few core principles. Number one, use a question bank, but don't just memorize the answers. Yes, question banks such as the Bristol Ground School, Pad Pilot, ATPL questions, they're your best friends. But the students who fail are the ones who learn the answer without understanding the why, the how. So learn the concept, and then the answer will become obvious. Even if they reword the question on the day of the exam, it's not a problem. You'll understand the concept, you'll have the knowledge, so you'll be able to answer it without a doubt. Number two, study actively, not passively. Reading your notes while watching Netflix is not studying. Flashcards, self-testing, explaining concepts out loud, that is studying. Use spaced repetition. Apps like Ankai are genuinely brilliant for this. Your brain remembers what it has to work to retrieve. Number three, structure your sessions. Especially for ATPL students, you've got 14 subjects. Make a study timetable. Allocate more hours to subjects you find harder. Meteorology and instruments tend to catch people out. Navigation takes real practice with the charts and calculators. Don't leave the hard stuff until the last. Number four, do mock exams under exam conditions. Sit down, timer on, no distractions, no notes. This trains your brain for the real environment. Check your wrong answers and understand every single one before moving on. Number five, know your regulatory stuff. Code, limits, minimums, maximum takeoff weight, categories, licensing requirements. These come up in exams and in oral assessments if you're based abroad in America and the States. So don't guess on the rules, know them. Great moment to show your own study setup on screen. Desk, apps you use, study schedule. Preparing for flight lessons. Right, so now the fun part is when you're preparing for your actual flying lessons. This applies whether you're doing circuits in a Cessna or a Piper or flying a sim as part of the APS course. So before every lesson, brief yourself. Read your notes from the previous lesson. Read the relevant section of your training manual for the exercise that you're about to do. Know the aim of the exercise before you arrive. Your instructor will still brief you, but if you already understand the concept, underlying knowledge, that brief becomes much more productive. Chair fly. This now might sound a bit odd, but can't overstate how effective this is. Sit in a chair, close your eyes, and mentally fly through the maneuver or the procedure that you're about to do. For example, with circuits, talk yourself around the downwind checks, base leg, final, flaring, and then going around or touchdown. For instrument approaches, brief the plate in your head, whether it's standard instrument departures or stars. The approaches basically. The brain does not sharply distinguish between imagined and real practice when it comes to building motor memory. Know your aircraft. Read the Pilot Operating Handbook, Aircraft Flight Manual. Know your aircraft. Read the Pilot Operating Handbook, the Aircraft Flight Manual for your aircraft type. Know your speeds, the VX, VY, the rotation speeds, all the different configurations. Know your emergency drills by memory. Don't be flipping through a checklist trying to remember what the Hazel check stands for when you should know it off by heart. Yeah. Check the weather. Before every flight lesson, check the actual META and the TAF for your airfield. Look at the winds. Think about how that might affect the lesson. Not only does this build excellent habits for your career, it gives you something intelligent to discuss with your instructor from the moment you walk in. Write down all your questions. Between lessons, questions will occur to you. Write them down, note it down. Turn up with them. Your instructor will respect you for it, and you'll get far more from the lesson. The mental game is this, and this is the bit people don't talk about enough. Preparation isn't just technical, it's mental. Manage your fatigue. Do not turn up to a flight lesson on 3 hours of sleep. Your situational awareness, decision-making skills, and other motor skills are all going to be degraded by fatigue. This is not just a performance issue, it's a safety issue. It becomes a safety factor. If you're exhausted, tell your instructor, reschedule it. You might lose a cancellation fee, but end of the day, you want to be responsible, take accountability for your actions. So manage your stress. A little nervousness before a skills test or a check ride is normal, and sometimes it can actually be helpful, but chronic stress is not. If you're dreading every single lesson, it's worth having an honest conversation with your instructor about where you are. The best instructors want to know how you're feeling, so debrief yourself honestly. After every lesson, write down 3 things you did well and 3 things on how you can improve. This is not self-criticism. This is how professionals develop. Treat every lesson like a loop. Brief, fly, debrief. Close that loop every time. Celebrate progress, not perfection. You'll have bad days, bad lessons. Everyone does, including your instructors. A bad lesson doesn't mean you can't do this. It just means you're learning something quite challenging, and it's supposed to feel difficult. When it comes to the skills test, whether it's your type rating check, your APS MCC assessment, your CPL, PPL skills test, whatever form it takes, the rule is the same. The preparation that you do in the weeks before is far more important than anything that you do the night before your test. Do not try to cram. Review your limits, your emergency drills, your V-speeds. Brief your route or instrument approach one more time. Then stop. Get a nice decent meal. Get to bed at a reasonable time and trust your preparation. Because on the day you want to arrive early, give yourself enough time to settle down, get your paperwork in order, check the weather properly, and brief yourself without having to rush. Because rushed pilots make avoidable mistakes, and it just looks amateur. When it comes to the flight briefings with the examiner, if you don't know something, just say, "Oh, I'd need to check the manual to find the precise figures," rather than doing guessworks. Examiners will prefer that honesty, airmanship over bluffing. They don't expect you to have every single number memorized, but they do expect you to know where to find it and to be honest about what you know. When it comes to the APS MCC students, your preparation is especially important around cockpit resource management, knowing your SOPs, knowing your call-outs, being able to communicate clearly with your co-pilot, because the examiners are watching how you function as a crew, not just as an individual pilot. So practice your handovers, your monitoring calls, all your emergency drills. and do this with another person before the actual thing. So to wrap up, the best thing you can do for your aviation training is to respect the process, being patient, turning up prepared, study with the intention, look after yourself mentally and physically as well. Go to the gym, go out to the park, walk, run, jog, feed the cats, look after your kids if you have any. Ask good questions and debrief honestly. Aviation is one of the most demanding and most rewarding things you can experience. The standards are high because they should be, but those standards are achievable by you when you put in the preparation. If you found this useful, drop it a like. It genuinely helps this channel grow, and it means I can keep making content like this and get a little bit happy as well time to time. So subscribe if you haven't already. I'll cover everything from flight training to careers advice to life as a pilot. Let me know in the comments what's the one part of your training you find the hardest to prepare for. Until then, blue skies, Sami's fly. I'll see you in the next one.